on how to request repairs from your landlord. Next slide, please. So this is our mission. We strive to serve all who come to our doors, from meeting immediate needs to offering long-term services. We partner with each individual to empower them to reach their potential. And these are our vision and our values as well: community, respect, hospitality, empowerment, and justice. Next slide, please. So this is a little bit overview of what we do. We have a variety of services here. So they're kind of split up into three separate categories. We have dignity and wellness, which includes things like showers, haircuts, meal program, and medical and dental services. We have food security, which includes our food pantry and the dining room. And then we have long-term stability, we help with applications for public benefits, individual and family mentorship, and legal services as well. And this is our legal team. So my name is Anshul Goyal, and I'm a staff attorney, and we have two other attorneys, three total on the team, and we have five legal advocates. So it's an 8-person team altogether. And I believe everybody is on the call today. So let's get right to it. So you have conditions in your apartment. What should you do? So the first step that we would always recommend is to contact your landlord. This can be either in person, via call, via text, or email. And we do encourage you to keep copies and records of everything that you have sent to the landlord, and so you have proof of reporting your conditions. You also want to do this to make sure that you've given a reasonable amount of notice to your landlord in order for them to have time to make these repairs. And the amount of time that's reasonable kind of depends on what the condition is and whether it's an emergency or how much work might be needed to correct the condition. And if the condition isn't addressed within a reasonable time, we do encourage you to follow up with your landlord. Now, let's say you spoke to your landlord, you've given them a reasonable amount of time, but nothing has been done. Now, what do you do? So, we do suggest that you call 311. You should report your complaint, and HPD, the Department of Housing Preservation and Development, will send somebody to inspect. If the inspector is unable to gain access to your apartment, you will have to call again. They probably will not reach out to you, and you will have to reach out to them to set up another inspection. And once they come and do the they do get access and they do the inspection, if they confirm that there are certain violations in your apartment, it will inform your landlord that it must correct the conditions in a certain time frame. And if the landlord tells them that they've corrected the conditions, then HPD will inform you, the tenant. But if the conditions haven't been corrected, then it becomes your responsibility as the tenant to inform HPD, or the violations will then be removed. Since we're also entering the colder weather, we wanted to include this graphic about cold weather heat requirements. So the landlord's required to make these requirements starting October 1st through May 31st. And in the daytime, as you can see on the left, it has to be at least 68 degrees Fahrenheit inside. And on the nighttime, it has to be 62 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you feel that these temperature requirements aren't being met, you should file a complaint again through the 311 service. You should also, we do encourage that you keep a record or a log of the exact temperatures and the days and the times that you've taken them, as that can be helpful information for HPD as well. Now, if you're also in court, whether that's a housing part case or you have a court case pending against you as a non-payment case, you can also ask the judge to order an inspection. And we've included a sample form here, and this is what it would look like. And so you can see on the top, you would write in the names of your landlord and your name as a respondent, or vice versa, depending on what kind of case it is. And you would fill in your name and your address and other important information like your phone number. And you also want to make sure that you write how the HPD inspector can come and gain access. So if your buzzer is broken, please write that in. Please write in your phone number as an alternative method to access. And you also have to be pretty specific when it comes to the conditions, and you want to write in exactly what conditions, what room, and what your apartment number is. And then you would give this to the court, and they would assign you an inspection date. And we also have up here a little graphic about Housing Court Answers. It's a website that you can use to kind of gain more information about all of this type of stuff, whether it's, you're being evicted, whether you want to do repairs, things like that. And on the left, we've kind of included some information about how you can file a housing part case. It's a different kind of case than a non-payment case. So a non-payment case would be started by your landlord against you, the tenant, for not paying your rent. Unlike that, the housing part case is actually started by you and it's against the landlord. So it kind of shifts the power to you as a tenant. And HPD would also participate in this case and can help you obtain these repairs. And on this slide, we have an application for a rent reduction. This is applicable to people who have rent stabilized or rent controlled apartments. It's a form with DHCR, and you can fill out the form and apply for a rent reduction based on the conditions that you have in your apartment if they haven't been addressed, and if you feel that you deserve a reduction in your rent because these conditions have impaired your ability to live in that apartment. And this is a similar form on the DHCR website where it's actually about a failure to provide heat and or hot water. So if your landlord does not meet those heat requirements that we showed earlier, or they're not meeting hot water requirements, this is another form that you can fill out to accelerate your complaint. And on this slide, we have some general tips for tenants. So do report your conditions to your landlord. Do keep notes and records about when you report conditions and any work that is done. Do take pictures or videos. Do follow up with your landlord if these conditions are not addressed, and do call 311 or take other steps if needed. Please don't make repairs yourself. Don't withhold rent unless you're prepared to defend a court case and are saving the rent money. And also don't give up. We know this process can be pretty frustrating, especially the timeline and all the energy that it takes, especially if you do end up going to court. But if you do have patience and you do follow through, most of these conditions will be addressed. And on this slide, we have some contact information for our legal clinic and the address at which we're located. We also have our website. So if you do want to save this information, you can feel free to call or email and ask any questions that you might have. And at this time, we can be open to questions. Thank you so much for joining.